Alrighty guys, Red Iron Acres asked for an overview on the 2155 white. We bought this tractor in 2008, is that right? Yeah, January 2008. It replaced a 2150 we had. Bought it, it had about 3,000 hours on it when we bought it, and now it's got a little over 6,000. We put a lot of hours on this thing. I think we figured out put 375 or so on it a year, or no, I ain't quite that many, 325. But you know, it plants, it when we spray with it, we run the auger wagon with it. There's not a lot of hard hours of work, but it just gets a lot of hours put on it. Trying to think what else. We have chiseled with it before. We used to have Glencoe soil saver. We'd chisel with it some. So it just did a lot, and we actually bought a 15-foot Batwing mower yesterday that I'll show you here at the end of the video. And so it'll get even more hours put on it. We'll have to use it to mow with. But it's a good tractor. That first year we had it, it started shifting funny on the over-under, slow to shift. So we had, that winter, we had our local dealer. That was kind of before we really started getting heavy into the, about the only thing we had the dealer do was engine overhauls on the tractors, and now we just do that ourselves too. But anyway, had them go ahead and overhaul the engine. It didn't need it, but at the time, you know, it had the engine out of it and whatever, so went ahead and overhauled it just because the engine is out. This is a 1983 model. They started production in 1977, and you can see it's a Series 3 model. Series 1s were 1977 through trying to think when they came with the Series 2. Probably like, they only made the Series 2 for a couple years. I think it was maybe 80 and 80, or 81 and 82. I can't remember though. There's not as much of a difference between a Series 1 and a Series 2 as there is a Series 3. Or maybe a Series 2 was only a 1982 model because it said WFE on the side instead of white, and they had a red stripe. But they weren't a Series 3. They came with a different cab top on the, in 1984 on the Series 3. They just kind of made some changes throughout stuff there. Series 1 had a black frame on it, and you'll see a lot of times guys will put a red stripe on them or something and make them look like a Series 3, but unless they got a black or a gray frame, they aren't a Series 3. They're either a Series 1 or a Series 2, I'm pretty sure on that. And really, if you find a Series 3, no one ever goes and really takes time to put Series 3 on here like that. This is original paint, and so this is how it was when it came out of the factory. So that's kind of how you tell a Series 3 apart, is if it'll have a gray frame or a black frame. Let's see. I think that's about it on the history on them. They were real good. This is probably one of the best tractors White ever made right here. It's got a 478 cubic inch Hercules 6-cylinder diesel. It was owned by Hercules, is owned by White. So essentially it's a White engine, turbocharged. Got 3-speed over-under in it. They offer a power front axle also. I'd kind of like to have one of them. Then we might in the next year or so try to sell this or keep it. We don't really know yet, but get either a 255 with front wheel assist or a 185 or 195 with front wheel assist. But you can put a full rack of weights on here. 11 weights, I think. I see there's 7. I don't think they'd hold 13. I think just 11's a full rack. Put new tie rod ends on here a little. That's the only thing I do not like about this tractor as compared to the 2150 and the 2180s were better. They used the steering gearbox thing that kind of had a rack and pinion in there. and it's kind of goofy under the radiator there, the way they steer it, and they just don't hold up very well, and they wander more. That is the only thing I don't like about this tractor. The rest of the tractor's great, but you know, I mean, I can live with that. On the 2180s, they had two big steering cylinders, and I don't know why they did it, because they went backwards, because the 2150 also had the same. They had two big steering cylinders underneath there, and they were just a lot better system. But it's a pretty good engine though. They did make it. They had 135 horse, 155 horse on the PTO, which is probably comes out to about 175 on the engine, and you know, 150 or so, or 155 on the two 135s flywheel horsepower. And they also had a naturally aspirated version of this engine they put in the 2050 Olivers. And then they made a power unit set for like irrigation that was one of these engines that had an intercooler and a bigger turbo and an injection pump, and Dad had repainted, or they had that engine, someone had bought that kit and put it in a 2155 front wheel assist, and Dad had repainted one about 15 years ago, and they had to notch the sheet metal out here and everything because it had a bigger turbo on it and whatnot. It was pretty cool. Kind of always want to go back to that farm and see if they even still had it. You know, I think I don't know what it'd run on the dyno, but it was over 200 PTO horse on the dyno. But a lot of these are either sold with 18.4 38 tires, which is what this has, set up on row crop, or 20.8 38s. Now, something you got to watch if you want a row crop, they had an option, and I don't know why they did it. And surely it wasn't just to save cost, because it wouldn't cost that much. Some of these tractors are offered with a short axle, which only came to like right here, and you could run duals on them, or clamp on duals, but you couldn't run a row crop duals on it, which is kind of a pain. I don't know why they did that, but they did. The only thing I can figure is guys up in Wisconsin or something, or you know, if you're running a cattle farm or something, a dairy, you know, you're running up and down the aisles feeding with a mixer or something, and they were, you know, trying to narrow the tractor up, because it does stick out quite a ways. As you can see, that axle sticks out there if you don't have duals on it, so that's the only thing I can figure on them. But obviously got 3-point hitch, 2 remotes. You could get 3 remotes. We got the parts to put 3 remotes on it. We just haven't put them on yet. We were kind of wanting to do that this year, but didn't get around to it. You could get these had a small 1,000 PTO, and the two 135s you could get a 540 or a small 1,000, or get a dual speed PTO. But I don't think they offered them in this tractor, just because that's getting to be a lot of horsepower to run 540, to just run a 540 PTO shaft. I'm 99% sure if you had a dual speed PTO, you could put it in this tractor though, and it would bolt right up. Because I think really the only difference in this tractor versus the 135 is just the fuel setting on the pump. Obviously we got the straight pipe on there. It sounds really good. Fuel tank, that's one thing I don't like too much. This thing, I think it'll hold about 70 gallon of fuel. It's got the one down there under the step. You just fill right here, and it's got a tank here, and then it also runs down to that tank. And you know, if you're running hard or something, you know, you can't run a full day. If you're planting, usually you can get a full day of fuel out, but if you're doing other stuff, you can't, you know, like chiseling or something. This Series 3 dash, obviously got the tilt steering wheel. Series 1 and 2, the gauges were laid out different, and they had a mechanical tack in them and stuff. Only the Series 3 tractors had a digital tack in it. And then, you know, you got your lights here for, I think we're the lamp test. You know, you got your different warning lights there. That was exclusive to the Series 3. The other ones I think they just had a row of red lights that popped up here, more similar to the like a 55 series Oliver or something. On this cluster here, you can read miles per hour, engine RPM, 1000 PTO or 540 PTO if it's in a 135. Yeah, 6,144 hours on it, what it's got. And then you got your voltage and your fuel, water temperature, oil pressure. It's got a diff lock, that's pretty nice. Preheat, and then lights. Got the dual brakes on it. Clutch, obviously. Here's your gear pattern. You got park, and then it goes to the upper range, and then you go up here's the lower range. 6-speed with 2 reverse. There's the over/under, and that's the throttle. Obviously, it does have a foot throttle, which is kind of nice. I like that a lot. PTO 3-point, obviously. There's 2 remotes. You get a third remote. This one, another lever here. That's a sprayer monitor we got in it, and our sprayer controls. That's the sprayer monitor we use here. I'll take this out and put the planter monitor in. That's a backup camera for the grain carts. We can see behind us if someone's on the road or something. And those are lights for the grain cart there. I've got a radio. That's not a stock radio. It had a dial one in it originally. We put that in. These are pretty nice. Jensen Heavy Duty is the brand, and we've had 3 or 4 of these radios, and they're really nice radios. Obviously heat and air conditioning, and there's your blower, wipers, and then dome light. But we put a cab kit in this tractor when we got it, just because, you know, at that time it would have been about 25 years old. 25 years old. Just the old foam starts to fall apart. Spring ride seat, not quite as nice as an air ride, but it's still pretty nice. You can adjust your weight, you know, how hard it's pushing back up at you. This is for draft control on the 3-point. We never use that though. Of course, we don't use too much 3-point stuff. I do have a video of that to make. I got several videos requests to make for people. I'll get to one of these days. One of them happens to be a 3-point hitch video, likes and dislikes. But I'll walk outside and show you the Batwing here. And so there you go, Red Iron Acres. Hope that a good review for you there. So alright guys, here's the Batwing we bought. I think it's like a 1995 Bush Hog 2615L. It's got a big 1000 PTO, but the guy threw the adapter in with it. It's not too beat up. They took good care of their stuff. It, you know, which is worth a lot to us. They, you know, they had it all cleaned off and everything, and it looked like they kept everything really greased. Jeff had said that Bush Hog never could make a good plastic shield to go over the PTO cover, so whatever. Those are obviously these fell off, and so it'll be easier to service. And if you're standing back here when those things are running, you probably don't have too much of a brain anyways, so a plastic shield's not going to help you out too much. But it's got the chains in the front, which are nice, which is what we wanted. Got the stump jumpers on it, and the blades are in real good shape. I don't even think they need to be sharpened. They're almost like new. Oh geez, I'm gonna run right into that thing. Got the spring suspension on it and laminate tires. Pretty good rock shaft system they got back here. It's had these 2 gearboxes replaced. Honestly, the bearings went out in them. And Jeff, I was wrong. I told you wrong. It was not the splitter gearbox it was replaced. It was these 2. It's had a few welds done to it, but whoever did the welding did a good job on it and whatnot. It's been taken care of. We got one spot up there at the front of that deck we got to re-weld, but other than that, weld that up and grease it. And check the wheel bearings, and I think that's about going to be it. It's going to be pretty nice, be ready to go. Oh, there was one other thing. They didn't want to come down in price too much, but then there's one other thing we got to do. And luckily we noticed this. They were asking $4,000, and we got them to take $3,600 because of this. The shaft's a little over $300. If you look real close, I think the slip clutch, they got the slip clutch too tight, and it started to break these twist. This has got a big twist in this shaft, and it's starting to fracture it here, so we're going to put that new shaft in right here. So they took that amount off the price, but I thought we did all right on it. We needed one just to speed up mowing, and that farm we picked up last year has about 10 acres of waterways on it, and so it'll just be real nice to have. But anyway, I'll about do it here, so thanks for watching.